Today I'm going to show you how to produce these multi-page prints. As we can see, I've produced a photograph the size of 2 feet tall and 2 3/4 feet wide by printing on 8 sheets of A4 paper. It takes no longer than 15 minutes to divide the image up into Photoshop and less than half an hour to print. So without further ado, let's begin. So here we are in Photoshop. I'm now about to divide this image up, which is a portrait of two of my sisters. I'm going to divide this up and produce an 8-sheet print. However, the only difference to the images between this and the ones I've shown you before is the fact this is going to be a portrait crop, a portrait orientation rather than the landscape ones I showed you before. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this image in Photoshop, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to crop it. Now we need to familiarise ourselves with the paper sizes, and this is where, if you look down in the description, I'll have the paper sizes for A4 if you don't know them already. But this is where your basic arithmetic skills come in, and it's basically just simple multiplication. So the 594mm, that comes from the fact we're multiplying the 297mm side twice, and the 840 is 210 times 4. So that basically just means we're going to be using about 8 sheets of paper to produce this portrait. So I've got the paper sizes up in there just so I can constrain the crop to how I want it and know what it's going to look like roughly on the page, or pages I should say. So I'm quite happy with that crop there. So I'm going to apply that crop, and now the next step is interpolating the image. So I'm going to go from image to image size, and I'm going to select the enlargement mode to bicubic smoother. As you can see, it says they're best for enlargement. I'm going to click OK to that. I'm going to set this to millimeters, and our resolution, we want 300 pixels per inch. This will just mean it's a lot quicker. The quality is a lot better, but it's also a lot quicker to creating those new documents, which ultimately saves us time. So now I've done that, I'm just going to click OK. As you notice, the image is enlarged. The next step is sharpening for the print. So I'm going to click View, and I'm going to click Print Size. You can also do that by using the magnifying glass and clicking Print Size. So now I've got the image at print size, I know roughly how sharp it's going to be, and I want a bit more sharpness because obviously we're viewing this from a distance, and I want the hair to just have a little bit more bite, because to me that's quite soft. So I'm going to go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. As you can see, I've already set the levels I liked from before, and I'm happy with that. As you can see, I've got just enough detail that I like in the hair. I'll toggle the preview just so you can see. I just want a gentle little lift. I'm happy with that gentle little lift, so I'm going to click OK, and that's sharpened the image for printing to how I want it. So now the next step is to just create the guides and then cut the bits out for the image. So to create the guides, we need to know that we've made the image 594mm wide. So that's 2 lengthways wide. And you'll see as I create the guides what I mean when it's 2 lengthways wide. So I'm going to go to View, I'm going to go to New Guide, Vertical. I'm going to have the first one as 0. As you can see, we've got the one on the left. The second one I'll have as 594mm, and then the third 297mm. So now we've divided the middle, so we know where the two sides are. Now we can start creating the other sheets. So I'm going to go to New Guide, Horizontal, 0. I'm going to keep doing that, but because now this is the smaller side, I'm going to do this in 210mm increments. So starting from 210mm, I have selected the right orientation, sorry. So 210mm, 420 millimeters, 630 mil, and the last one 840 millimeters. Now with these guides we can see what I mean, how the paper is going to lie lengthways for this particular image. So now I've established that, we can select the square marquee tool, the rectangular marquee tool, whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to select from these marks like that and just select them within the grid. Now the beauty of this is, because we've made these guides, is that it snaps to them and we get a very accurate, well, pretty much precise, bang on cut of what we want. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to make a new document, and we're going to select international paper in A4. However, because we're doing these lengthways, the easier way is to switch the width and height across. So we want 297 to 210. And it's a good idea to save this as a preset just to speed up the process. So I'm going to call this A4 rotation 90 degrees. Or in fact, I'll call it A4 rotation horizontal. So notice how we've got 300 pixels per inch, 210 millimeters tall and 297 millimeters wide. We can click OK to that. I'm just going to quickly set that to Adobe RGB. Okay, going to click OK. Now we've copied this first bit in, I can paste that in. I'll go back to my original document, move the marquee across right, and copy that, create a new document, preset A4 rotation horizontal, OK, paste the next one in. Now what I'm going to do here is, the way I'm pasting is I'm going from left to right and moving down, so left, right, left, right, left, right. This just makes the printing order a lot easier to interpret and just makes managing where each sheet goes a little bit easier. So again, A4 rotation horizontal, OK, paste the next picture in, and we're going to keep doing this. It's a good idea to familiarise yourself with the keyboard shortcuts just to speed up this process. I'm using Ctrl-N to create a new document and Ctrl-C to copy. Obviously on a Mac that's Command instead of Control. As we can see, this is probably the quickest process out of it all, apart from the interpolation. And just for the last image, and there we are. So as we can see, if we move through the documents, we're going from left to right, moving down to the next layer, left to right, left to right, left to right. And because we're going to print the last document last, that'll end up on the bottom. So when we actually go to put the print up, we're picking the first image up, which will be the top. So that's pretty much it there. That's the Photoshop divisions done. Now it's time to go print it. Remember, when you're doing prints like this, or rather when you're doing jobs like this where it requires lots of paper, it's always a good idea to make sure you have some sort of cheap ink supply or just cartridges that will last. As you can see here, I've got a continuous ink supply, and the reason I like using one of them for these jobs is because I know for a fact I'm going to have the same consistent results between every print. And as you can see, all it is I've just got this external reservoir and the tanks lead in to the print cartridges, which are in the head there. Simple as, cheap, only works out about 50p a cartridge instead of 15, and it's good ink, good dye ink. So now I've got the printer plugged in. As we can see here, we are ready to print. Ignore those ink levels because obviously I've got the continuous ink supply, so the printer is a liar. That's right kids, don't trust printers. Now I'm going to go to File, Print, and we're going to set the printer up. So I'm going to have it scale the image to fit the media, print settings. Now obviously this is just my Epson Stylus DX6050. You can do this with pretty much any printer that does borderless prints, but make sure you select borderless. It says the quality may decline in the area on the bottom and top of the print. That is true to an extent. Obviously some printers can do borderless without quality decline, but sometimes if you look closely you may notice a little bit of banding. Not to worry, because when you do actually stand back and look at it, you don't really tend to notice it. And plus, you're normally more amazed at the size of the print anyway. So I'm going to click that. I don't want photo enhance because that tends to blow out the shadows and stuff like that. And let's be honest, Epson don't know how I want my picture. So I'm going to click OK. That's going to have positioned my image to how I want it. Now I can click print. And Photoshop CS6 is going to remember these settings. So there goes my printer whirring away there. I'm just going to queue up the other pages as well. So just make sure. Scale to fit media. Print. And noisy printers being noisy. I'm just going to keep queuing the jobs. Print. As you can see, there's a small percentage there, but it's negligible. So I'm going to click print. Just print. And that's the last one. Print. So now if I look at the document queue for my printer, we can see I've got the 8 sheets. That's going to print in order. So you can see I've got the first one all the way up to the last one. Sorted. So that's pretty much everything done on the computer for now, so we can just tell that to go away now. So you can see it's printing. Sorted. Progress is slow, but progressing. I like to make sure I'm using the slow settings on the printer just so that the ink dries before it puts paper on top of paper and then paper sticks to each other and I get foo-barred prints. Good thinking, Batman. Right, so now that the prints are done, I'm not going to bother mounting them. However, I'm going to show you how they look laid out. So this is my pile of prints and they should be dry by now. So I'm just going to start laying them out. Obviously we're printed left to right, so we lay it out right to left. And it's just as simple as that. So easy. If you want, you can even line up different parts of the prints and mount them and cut them later. As we can see, everything will line up. Put them there. And then you can start mounting these to pieces of card or foam board and create your very own big large prints like that. And it's big enough to sit on, so if I wanted to sit on people, there you go. Well, I hope this video has been somewhat helpful to you if you ever want to make prints big enough to sit on, or prints big enough to cover your living room walls like I'm doing here. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, whatever. There's probably going to be more stupid videos like this. Brace yourselves. Thanks for watching.